And hello, everybody. I am Wilson. You're all real snuggled up at the top of the hour here at KRFF Radio Free Fargo. Number to the studio, 701-478-4959. It's going to be a fun one in the studio, folks. It's Terpy Thursday. We got Terps Candy in the building, and we're going to get around to talking to them here in a minute. Indy for Freedom of Cannabis Act. It's the petition being circulated. It's the petition you need to be out signing. Right after this, Tochi Products from 5 to 6 is our weekly meeting. So come out and get involved. Let's get the music started. Nappy Roots, they're going to be in Fargo here soon. All right, that was Nappy Roots. Good day. Indy for Freedom of Cannabis Act. What's going on? It's a constitutional measure. It is designed to allow you to privately consume up to 12 plants, 21 plus to have, and then all businesses need to be licensed. And just another thing, I mean, with constitutional measure, we just want more control, because I've been noticing, especially like California, they're talking about, Colorado, talking about potency caps. You know, how far up they want to get, you know. And people are saying, well, cannabis strains now can get about 30% on alone, you know, by themselves. So if you get an extract, which we had Chris Howell on talking about the effectiveness of, you know, helping night terrors with a higher concentrate, there's definitely a need for it. And I kind of believe that the higher it is, there is some room for psychosis, I feel like. If we're talking 100% and you're dabbing, you know, a god-awful amount, maybe there's some damage there, you know. Maybe there's too much, you know. Then you start talking about CBD and land and everything. So, yeah, it's an exciting thing. And we've got a couple guys here from Terps Candy. 420, we're going to talk to them. So that's exciting, and they're going to be able to tell us what the medicinal and benefits are to terpenes, what a magical world of terpenes and how we can benefit from it. We've got the St. Patrick's Day Parade, March 14th. We need your help. At 11 o'clock a.m. it starts. We're going to be lining up Moorhead Center Mall there, probably around 10 or so. Just kind of reach out if you can help. It'll be easy, just green T-shirts and, know how to walk. Well, even if you don't know how to walk, I'll carry at least two of you. But that's about the most I can do. And anyway, we've got a show for you coming up here. We've got our meeting directly after this, and we're going to get. This isn't the weekend. This isn't the week for the mall. I don't believe it's next Friday. We're going to be back at the mall noon to 7. It's exciting, and we're getting closer to July 6th. That's when we got to have all of our signatures in. We're more than halfway. We got like about 9,000 more to get. And we need everybody's help. And it's because it's going to happen as soon as, almost like a blink of an eye. So, again, if you care about personal freedom and if you care about, deciding what you want to do for you and the freedom in that, then help us fight. And House Bill 4001, created by legislators to not allow us as much control to do initiatives, to get the signatures and then get it on to be voted for. 4001 wants to take that away from you and put the power in the hands ultimately of the legislators, and that's not cool. We don't dig it, so we need everybody to get on board with that. Because in hindsight, or just think about it: if they pass theirs and we don't pass ours, then the next time we try, the fact that theirs passed is going to keep us from maybe ever trying again. Because we'll go through the effort, we'll get the signatures in, and then they'll have a panel of legislators decide if it should go further. And that's House Bill 4001, and that just seems like a crazy bill that you're going to try to get people to, sign and agree with. And so, like Lisa and I are saying, what are they going to spend? What's the spin going to be to get a person to essentially sign over their rights as in mass public to get things done? It's interesting to me, and I got the kid. She's like, oh, you got to play Annie Lennox. You got to play a double shot Annie Lennox. All right, fine. I'm going to, and we'll see you on the other side of this, folks. Train in Vain, first up with Annie Lennox, and Walking on Broken Glass to wrap that up. And I don't know about you guys, but it's showtime, so we're going to jump right into it. And it's Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's my 16th show, I realized. And to celebrate my 16th show, we've got the dudes from Terps Candy. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Yo.
Oh, you guys sound good. Introduce yourself.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Dylan.
And that's Dylan. All right, so Terps Candy, I've always liked it. I don't know how long you guys have been around. We'll find that out. And then we'll find out the connection with cannabis and the candy. We'll get into that, too. So let's get started. First of all, like I said, Terps Candy, it's locally made right here in Fargo?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. So tell me how Terps Candy got started. How did you guys get there?
So probably around like 2012, 2013, I was reading at High Times, and it talked about how mangoes can amplify your cannabis high. And I was like, how does that work? How is that possible? Well, I discovered it was because of the terpenes, and then I got super fascinated with them. I've known Dylan my whole life, so one day me and Dylan were hanging out. I told him about this, and then probably about 3 years later, I moved to Fargo, and Dylan was like, hey, we should do this. We should make a sugar candy. We should put terpenes in them and see how this works.
So what were you guys doing before this? I feel like Dylan's playing PlayStation 3.
Something like that, probably, yeah.
I got a background in sales, so it kind of made sense to try to make a product and see if we could sell it.
Right, yeah, selling it. And so, okay, so he moves to town, and then you guys start brainstorming on this candy, terpene-based, and then what happened?
So we go and get our other two super smart friends.
Yes.
Got to get more brains involved. And then we get down to experimenting. So we knew the terpenes we wanted to use, and so we just kind of had to teach ourselves how to make sugar candy. And
okay, so you make the sugar candy, right? So that's its own process.
Yep.
And then you start just dropping different terpenes into the...
Yep, and basically writing down the amount that we put in, experimenting with each batch, and then tasting them, seeing the effects, and going from there.
Trying to factor in, safe dosages and all that stuff, effective dosages based off of the research that we were looking at. So,
well, man, how much candy did you guys have to stink and eat?
A lot.
That was a lot of candy.
That was
a lot of candy.
Yes, a lot. Our house. I lived above Dylan, and our house smelt like limonene. Just fresh citrus.
Like somebody been working on the floors with Pledge. That's hilarious. So you're keeping logs, you're keeping track. I get that, on a baseline sense. So did you get like a eureka moment where you're like, all of a sudden you're like, ta-da.
Yeah.
How did that work out? How did you figure it out? Like, what did your palate tell you? It must have told you something different, right?
Me and Dylan had been, so we kind of exchanged, like all four of us had been working, maybe two of us at a time, different, ones of us. And me and Dylan had been working on it, and we figured out that this one was the one, like after we tasted it, we knew, and then we showed it to them.
Berry.
Yep,
Yeah.
with citrus berry. And then we showed it to them, and they were like, this is delicious, this is amazing, effective.
When we started giving it to our friends and people to see if it worked, we found that they were reporting things like, oh, my back doesn't hurt as much, my elbow pain went away, cramps are a little bit less. So we, then we kind of leaned into that and started looking into the research for that, and that's kind of, that's been where we've been looking at now, seeing what kind of individual effects the terpenes can have, and if we can help anybody with them.
Well, yeah, and that's what's amazing. You fall into this thing where, not only is it candy, which is fun, but then it also it's in a vehicle where it makes people better. Like at the end of the day, and I know that's what I'm sure other people say, but I say it's candy I don't feel guilty about eating. Like it's like you feel like you've done your body a little bit of service by doing something that people have said is so horrible.
Yeah, well, if you're going to eat a candy anyway, like everybody wants a sugar fix, so might try something that might have some benefit to you too.
Okay, so is there other terp candies out there?
Not really.
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe
you would find like maybe some full spectrum CBD with terpenes, but nothing that specifically has the doses that we have.
I've seen CBD candies that say added terpenes, but I don't think I've seen anything just solidly terpenes. besides us.
So is that something you need to get a patent for so nobody else can mess with you? Is that something that's
Patents
possible?
are kind of difficult when you're dealing with a sugar candy.
And just flavor compounds, which is what they end up, terpenes at the end of the day are just flavor and odor molecules, whether they're found in fruit plants or, cannabis.
So is it primarily found in cannabis? What's the draw to that being, the comparison?
Well, it's just so useful in cannabis. It's also useful in hops as well. Myrcene hops are kind of heavy in myrcene, and so different beers that are heavier, like IPAs that are kind of heavier in hops, kind of give a body high effect, and that's derived from that myrcene, and so the effects that you're feeling from cannabis are kind of driven by the terpenes themselves.
Okay, so depending on the terpene profile,
Yep,
is going to be the end result of the particular type of strain you would medically be imbibing, especially here in North Dakota.
Exactly.
Yeah, we thought for a really long time that it was, indicas do this, sativas do this, but we're finding out more depending, especially with hybrids, depending on the type of terpenes that are being used, that's actually what's giving these mood effects.
Gotcha. So I don't know if this is what you're doing or you're thinking of doing, but taking cannabis and then extracting the terpenes that way?
So there's a lot of people doing that, and to do it that way, it's very, very expensive to use the cannabis and just get the terpenes out of it.
Gotcha.
So for a cost-effective candy, at the end of the day, terpenes are just carbon and hydrogen and oxygen. They're just a molecule. It doesn't really matter where they come from. You can get them from other fruit and plant sources and a cheaper source. As long as they're extracted properly, they're going to have the same effects.
Gotcha. It's just they're in higher it's a higher dosage in cannabis.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. But it's still super expensive to extract terpenes from cannabis. And also you have stuff like chlorophyll. That's the purity rates. So the amount that you're getting is going to have different mixed terpenes inside of it. And, you might get a strain that has 6 different terpenes, and one's definitely dominant and is maybe like 30% of the terpene makeup of it, but you might have 6-7 terpenes in there, and so when you actually extract the terpenes, you're getting this kind of diluted mixture. Whereas if you just get like limonene from like orange rinds, you're getting pretty pure limonene, and then you can purify it.
And in both cases, there's going to be probably, up to maybe hundreds of trace amounts of other terpenes in there,
that are eventually either distilled out or
Gotcha.
purified.
And I suppose if you've got all of them in there to go in and specifically, focus on one particular terpene to go in and, and extract out,
Mm-hmm.
seems, well, it confuses me when I think about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then, especially with CBD and hemp being allowed to, being grown in North Dakota, just seems like, I don't know, it would be a progress naturally to extract from particular strains that are growing in North Dakota, I suppose, going forward.
Yeah, it's something that we are looking at, and I mean, there's some good companies in town here, so yeah, that's something we want to look at.
Yeah, well, it's cool. Like Terps Candy, first of all, like I said, we meet during the summer down at Island Park, and I remember running into you guys and you being cool, bringing over the samples, and that's the first time I suppose I've ever eaten anything connected to candy and then flavoring,
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to kind of watch this all kind of come full circle, because you got nowhere but up to go with Terps Candy, because there ain't nobody else really that I know, that's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of neat that, just an article from Rolling Stones or High Times, because I read the same thing where it was like the hit will have, if you take a hit, it'll hit you instead of 7 seconds, it'll hit you in 4 seconds. Like it expedites the reaction.
Yep.
So then I got to thinking, well, that's like a catalyst then,
Exactly.
So you can use it to preempt or kickstart something else when it comes to health, and candies don't do that normally.
No, definitely not. And, not only can it, do the kickstart thing that you're referring to, but also amplify is a big part of it. So you can take a bud that's 17% THC and another one that's 17% THC, but if you mix Terps Candy with those, you're going to have different effects with them because they could have different terpene profiles. And so introducing other or different terpenes into the terpene profile that already exists with the bud can amplify even further.
So that's when we start talking about, maybe you can tell the people listening, the entourage effect then.
Yes, exactly. So, Dylan, if you want to say the thing.
Yeah, Dylan, why don't you talk about it?
So the entourage, I guess, in layman's terms, the sum is greater than its parts. So if you have like a CBD plus THC plus terpenes, you're going to have a greater effect than just those three things by themselves, if that makes sense. 1 + 1 + 1 in this case equals 4.
Gotcha. So, okay, so cannabis is where these terpenes are mostly found, but they're found in...
They're in everything.
They're actually mostly found in conifer trees,
okay,
and like pine trees. Mostly in actual trees are where you're going to find the majority of the terpenes.
Yeah, if you're walking through a forest, that good fresh smell, that's all terpenes.
Wow, because I know I was in the Poconos one time getting a camper with my dad, long story, but I remember when I got back home and I unzipped my duffel bag, I could still smell like the trees, or, the pine,
Yep.
was still in my bag.
So like eucalyptus, very, very strong smell. There's eucalyptol. Menthol is even a terpene. So these fragrances that you experience every day are actually just nature communicating with itself.
Whoa.
Yeah. So different plants will use different terpenes to repel insects. Different plants will use different terpenes to attract insects for cross-pollination. And terpenes are actually this phenomenal language in nature itself. Much like we use body language or sign language, trees are using terpenes to communicate with each other.
Yeah, that's interesting, because then we start talking about the fungal type, the myelin or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's all kind of connected.
Yes.
Mycelium,
Yeah, where they say 80% of everything we know is fungal. When it starts talking about communication and, the roots of a tree, even kind of look like the lungs, of a human kind of. And then fungus seems to be communicating too.
There's this effect that happens in some forests where during the summer heat, the trees will release a lot of pinene into the air, and it will be kind of used as a cloud seeding effect, which will then give a better amount of rainfall. And there's more and more research that's happening with stuff like that as well, where maybe some of these terpenes could actually just be used in cloud seeding. And just, using these natural things from nature to amplify our rainfalls. And
Right. Because I know that's kind of two different sides of the story when you talk about making it rain, and then letting God let it rain naturally, So when you start talking about seeding clouds, I've been reading about that and how some people say, well, it's horrible. It's like the GMO kind of Monsanto type ideal. But if you're embedding a natural thing.
Yep. Yeah, and forests kind of already do it themselves. So, people are researching how that process works, and then they're trying to put it into effect with that.
So you're saying a certain time of the year, the forest trees specifically give off a higher pine that creates rain?
Yes. Yep.
That's wild.
Yep. And it's there's many little intricate things like that terpenes are involved with, and half of them we don't even know. There's also terpenes that can be extracted from insects because they can communicate with each other via terpenes as well. Different mating pheromones or different repelling of different insects.
When you talk about pheromones, that's kind of like animal terpenes, kind of, right?
It's kind of like plant, exactly. It's kind of their version of pheromones. They're very, very, and both of these things that we're talking about could be called like aerosols because they're things in the air that you can smell. So
right. And then
very
identify
similar
certain things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, terpenes. That's just such an interesting thing that after all of that, we can make candy out of it.
Yes.
And so that's our own communication working with a candy that comes naturally. And like I said, I've never heard of candy doing that.
Yeah, well, the myrcene is known to open up your cannabinoid receptors too. So that's part of the reason. Like you said with the mango earlier, the myrcene is the dominant terpene in mangoes, and that would be the reason. So there's some stuff to back this up too. So
well, the endocannabinoid system, as we all have, it's interesting when you look at those. It's almost like where the lymph nodes are kind of in the body, where, you're cleaning up the area, detoxifying. It's the highways that also would be, cannabis flags in all of those areas that are also communicating is awesome to me, that we have a system that is primarily, responding to a cannabis diet.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be studied much more extensively. We're really only just recently started looking at it, so it'll be really exciting to see what we can do with that system in our body.
Absolutely, and that's what we're fighting in North Dakota, to get them to kind of let us show you that we're not wrong. That our idea can help a lot of people. It's not a drug like alcohol and tobacco. It's just the overall health. It's almost like a supplement. That
exactly.
Taken in different forms for different reasons can all accommodate everybody. And its base root, just a candy, it's just a candy, but it's done with like us and how we work in mind, and how we relate to flavors. Because the smell of oranges, man, I mean, I don't know why I like that, but I really dig it.
Yeah, no, it's something that humans naturally react to. Good food that we want to seek out. So,
oh yeah,
we like the sweet smells from fruit, which are the terpenes. We like those fresh smells from flowers, which are also terpenes, and we like those kind of clean smells you get from stuff like forest smells.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we kind of like all those, and we're kind of attracted to all of those. It's kind of just. Much like you were saying, we have this built-in endocannabinoid system. We also have this system for when we eat an orange, we're getting that limonene. When we eat a mango, we're getting that myrcene. We're getting it in small amounts. I can't remember the exact number, but like per Terps Candy, there's a massive amount of like one mango's worth of myrcene per one candy. I think it's somewhere in the 18 to
20, 22, I think.
Yeah, 22, yep.
22 mangoes worth of myrcene in one of our citrus
in just
candies.
one single candy.
Wow.
Yeah, so and that's a lot higher in the second flavor in the Lavender Lullaby. And that's kind of what we're trying to do is just utilize this thing that is separate from cannabis but also can work with it. Work wonders with it, and one of the reasons why we currently don't use cannabis-derived terpenes is because of the legality issues. It's something we would really like to do.
Well, right, I would imagine you'd love to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, but legality brings up expense too. So it's not one of the other reasons why it's so expensive. Is because of all these legal issues
over a candy,
Yep, over a simple chemical that's found in pretty much every tree, every fruit, every vegetable, every flower on the planet.
A flavor profile.
Yeah,
flavor
molecule.
So I was I don't know if you guys know about this, and I would just buzz it by you, but I've been reading a lot about bees liking pollen. That from the plant, like cannabis plants.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That apparently there's some sort of communication that they're digging about. Apparently, it's different than any other plant.
And it's totally the terpene profiles from the cannabis that's
it's
why
attracting them,
exactly
it's a fruity type thing.
Yep.
And so then that might change the kind of honey that you taste, but it couldn't be harmful, right? It would have to be a good thing, I would think.
I mean, bees, depending on the area they're in, they produce all types of different honey, depending on what they're pollinating from. I believe somewhere in Asia, there's bees that can make kind of a hallucinatory honey. because of the specific flower that they're pollinating from. And so it can kind of give a little bit of a drunk or hallucinatory effect to it.
Yeah.
So if enough bees in a concentrated area are harvesting that cannabis, you could possibly make THC honey that's quite potent. Or CBD honey, or any of the other cannabinoids.
Well, that's interesting, because I know, certainly at like Smokey's House of Pipes, where you can actually go and sign the petition if you wanted, has the honey sticks that has CBD infused.
Yeah.
And I think those are pretty awesome, because honey's good for you,
Mm-hmm.
and CBD, it's kind of a nice vessel, a vehicle
Exactly.
to get it in,
Yep.
and it must mix pretty well.
Yeah.
Same thing with like the candies. You must be able to infuse it all pretty easily, like it doesn't fight, because like cannabis, they say it's fat soluble or whatever, like it'll repel water.
It fights a little bit, but we we're careful with the temperature, and we can get it in there if we mix it properly. So yeah, it's,
and a lot of experimentation. We found out how to do it, properly. There was a lot of failed attempts at first, but that's
I could
with
just
anything.
imagine all the teeth that have rotted out of your guys' head from stinking doing it. Anyway, I'm talking with Alex and Dylan from Terps Candy, and we're kind of wrapping up here, but it's been exciting. We've been talking about the benefits of terps and why, if we could get cannabis legal, we could definitely extract from an actual plant, and if it would be easier, that's what you guys would do, right?
Oh, definitely.
You're bound by the cost in an illegal state to produce legal product.
Yep.
It's crazy to me.
It is crazy.
And that's why we need everybody to sign the Indy for Freedom of Cannabis Act. It's, you can go to indyforfreedom.com. There's my petition locator. That'll show you where in your area. We've got Smokey's House of Pipes, Orange Records, Tochi Products, which directly after here from 5 to 6 we're meeting. Come see us. Then we got 46 and 2 Addictions, Bee's Nest, Art Supply, and Mellow Mood. Dudes, thanks a lot for coming in, man. We appreciate it, and thanks for the candy. Yeah, we are eating candy here, folks, if you don't know, because you can't see and you don't have any that we do, and you don't. But you can go out to a lot of places and get it. You guys want to tell them where they could get some candy?
Well, Tochi's for one, so you can go right there and get it.
Yeah, we're at Tochi's, Discontent, of course, Northland Vapors, like you said, Empire Liquors over in West Fargo has some. A bunch of places downtown. Vinyl Giant, another good one. So yeah.
Nice. Well, keep doing what you guys do. And like I said, I've always liked the candy. And I know you guys are some good dudes, so you're not out to fool anybody. You're just trying to get something that people like.
Yeah, we're trying to a good product that hopefully has some benefit to people. So yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
And I am going to tell you this hour of music on KRFF 95.9 LPFM is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Luthery. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, and Paul Reed Smith guitars, and many others. They also sell guitars on consignment, as well as take trade-ins, along with having a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Luthery on Facebook or visit them at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. I'm going to play a couple songs here, and then I'll see you guys on the other side. Woo! For Survival by Wolfpack, and then Candy by the Presidents of the United States of America, which I really stinking like, and that's another one that goes out to my kid. She got a 3-pack today, but anyway, Terps Candy, if you see their product out somewhere, go ahead and pick some of that stuff up, because they're cool, and they're neat guys, and take it from me, their candy really is good. And anyway, directly after this, Tochi from 5 to 6, we have our meeting, and then next week we'll be at the mall from 12 to 7, and what else? You guys are great. Thanks for listening. This has been Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, and I'm going to play a song and then head over to Tochi. So again, folks, if you want to get involved, Indy for Freedom of Cannabis Act, indyforfreedom.com, Indy Cannabis Caucus Fargo, and then our YouTube page, Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. Subscribe, help us out. Let's get cannabis legal in the state of North Dakota.